are the FlyBy Drop-on Specified Target team. Our sponsor is Dr. Ravi Thayagarajan, a mechanical engineering professor at Texas A&M University, and our end user or customer for our project is the Boys and Girls Club of Brazos Valley. Our team's problem statement is to design a physics exhibit that is aimed at educating students ages 6 to 14 years old in the fundamental principles of parabolic motion.
During our first meeting with the Boys and Girls Club of the Brazos Valley, we interviewed the administrative staff to gain an understanding of their needs for this project. We recorded their statements and then interpreted the needs from those statements. For each need, we assign an importance value ranging from 1 to 3, 1 being something that would be nice to have, 2 being something that it should have, and 3 being something that the project must have. For example, we found out that their students bus straight over after a long day of school, so they need a change in pace. We interpreted that our exhibit needed to be interactive and exciting, so that it could teach physics different from conventional teaching methods. After identifying all of our customer needs from the interview and other conversations with the Boys and Girls Club, we tabulated the needs with an updated importance score ranging from 1 to 5. This wider range allowed us to better differentiate between which needs were of greater priority to the customer. Needs ranked as 5 were considered critical to the success of the project, while those ranked as a 1 were deemed low priority but still worth considering if resources allowed. This updated needs document served as a foundation for our design decisions and helped us ensure we were meeting the expectations of our customer.
From the identified needs, we outlined the requirements for our design. Some of these requirements include that we had to design something that engaged the user, had a large viewing window so they were aware of where they had to aim, required a small amount of maintenance, and it had to fit in a 3 foot by 6 foot by 6 foot space.
From these requirements, we identified 6 different subfunctions to generate ideas. These subfunctions are the release of the mechanism, reloading of the mechanism, release of the projectile, projectile retrieval, scoring, and reloading of the projectile.
As a team, we brainstormed various concepts for each identified subfunction. This provided a very broad understanding of the defined scope of this project and allowed us to transition to mind mapping, where we identified various mechanical and electrical considerations in order to better understand the potential consequences of each potential subfunction choice.
As a team, we came up with 4 complete designs. Concept 1 is a pendulum moved using a pulley system, a camera tracking the ball, and a bucket belt returning the ball. Concept 2 is a motor-controlled pendulum that you manually reset with a lever in the back. Uses pressure sensors to track the ball with a sweeper and drawer to gather the balls. Concept 3 is a horizontal conveyor belt with a trap door that drops balls into a slot. A ramp guides the balls to a drawer and laser sensors track the ball. Concept 4 is a pinball cannon that launches balls into skee ball slots. A lever counter tracks the slot and the balls roll down a channel where a servo releases them one at a time to the cannon. We broke down our 4 concepts and grouped them into our 6 subsystems. Each idea was evaluated using matrices with factors based on sponsor and customer requirements to determine the best design.
And now we have our selected concept. For the release of the mechanism, we went with electromagnets. For resetting the mechanism, we went with the motor. For ball release, we also went with an electromagnet. For ball retrieval, we did a sloped platform. For scoring, we used a camera. And then for reloading the ball, we created access to a manual drawer where all the balls would be collected.
The pendulum is the main focus of our physics exhibit. It consists of a lower square tube, an upper square tube, an electromagnet, and a shaft mount. The electromagnet bolts onto the mounting block seen in the upper left image. That block then bolts onto the end of the lower square tube. The shaft mount, which can be seen in the lower left image, bolts onto the upper square tube. This mount is inserted into a shaft and allows our pendulum to swing freely. Finally, the lower square tube slides inside of the upper square tube using a push pin. Prototyping using 3D printing was crucial in the design of the pendulum to ensure close tolerances that minimize vibrations. Here's a video showing how the pendulum can be switched between a 28-inch configuration and a 24-inch configuration.
The pendulum assembly contains 3 main components: the mechanism block, pendulum plate, and pendulum. The mechanism block is bolted straight to the top of the exhibit, and inside of it, it has 2 shafts. The shafts help rotate the pendulum plate and the pendulum. Now the second component of the pendulum plate is motor powered, and it attaches to the pendulum and brings it back up to its horizontal position to reload, as well as to its initial starting position. The third component is the pendulum. This component is free swinging. This is a side view of the pendulum assembly. Shaft 1 in red holds the pendulum and is free swinging. Shaft 2 in pink is motor powered. This shaft rotates the pendulum plate to bring the pendulum up to the horizontal for reloading as well as to its starting angle position.
The ball reloading system is made of 4 different components: the internal drum, bump insert, housing, and motor. Balls are deposited into the housing where they fall into the holes in the internal drum or rest on top. When it is time to reload, the motor drives the pinion, which engages with the gear teeth on the internal drum, rotating it 1/10 of a revolution. This causes a slot containing a ball to align with a hole in the housing, where the ball falls down. The bump insert sits above the aligning holes to prevent multiple balls from falling and provide some agitation to the housed balls to prevent clogs. The ball then falls down a chute where it will be attached to the end of the pendulum. The mount uses a servo to hold the pendulum horizontal and keep it aligned with the ball chute. We tested the ball reloading system by giving several signals to the motor to simulate multiple games being played, and tested the motor timing. It was able to hold and dispense 70+ balls without fail.
The scoring system is divided into 3 sections, red, yellow, and green, each with 2 zones. Students earn the most points in the green section and the least in the red. The highest possible score is achieved by launching into Zone 6 on hard mode 3 times, earning 9,999 points, just like in classic video games. Through testing, we validated these color combinations. For example, hard mode is released at 60 degrees, which is the closest to the horizontal. It has the largest and fastest swing, making it harder to accurately aim the ball into the farthest zone in the slot. Our user interface includes a TV display, a touch screen that is attached to a Raspberry Pi, and this is what the staff is going to use to start up the game.
At the request of the Boys and Girls Club, we limited the kids' interaction with the display to the touchscreen and the button. This is to ensure safety and increase longevity of the exhibit. In order to accomplish this, we created our own power system connected to a microcontroller to allow for full automation of 5 of the 6 defined subfunctions.
Now, let's show you what a game actually looks like. When the exhibit is set up, these starting screens will appear. The user simply has to click start and more options will appear on the touch screen. The user will be prompted to choose their level of difficulty. They have the option of choosing easy, medium, or hard. When the difficulty level is chosen, the LEDs will light up in a pattern of red, green, and yellow. In this case, medium mode was chosen, so the middle LEDs light up in green. This shows that the students want to aim to release the ball into the middle zone. Then the user will click play and a loading screen will appear. This prompts one ball to be dropped from the reloading assembly and attached to the pendulum. The motor then brings the pendulum down to its release angle. A countdown then appears and the student has to be ready to push the button and release the ball into the slot. The pendulum is then brought once again to the horizontal to reload another ball and let the user have another go at making the ball into the slot. But that's not it. We also made 4 educational videos for the students that cover inertia, electricity, grandfather clocks, and pendulums, as well as the conservation of energy. When the students are not using our exhibit, they can learn more about energy and pendulum motion through our interactive posters. Thank you so much for watching.